Hello everybody, today we are looking at the Elden Ring backgrounds and races. So backgrounds are like if you're a Tarnished in the Lands Between, that'd be your background, or a Finger Maiden, who is also a background in the Lands Between. And then you have races like the Imperians, like the Nox, like the Crucible Knights, and here you get to play just about all of them. Right now I have them set up so they can work in any game, but I've been working on a complete overhaul of Elden Ring, so that way you can completely play Elden Ring in D&D. So these will probably get changed when it goes into the full video, but this is the first part of the project. So the backgrounds. First, you have the Tarnished. So in Elden Ring, the Tarnished were originally kicked out of the Lands Between by Maliketh and sent to the Badlands, with the chief of it being Godfrey. But eventually, after Maliketh shatters the Elden Ring, these Tarnished are given grace again to come back. So you can now find many Tarnished in the Lands Between. So you may increase one of your ability scores by 2 and the other by 1, and these options are Strength, Constitution, and Wisdom. Then for your proficiencies, you can choose 2 from Athletics, Survival, Intimidation, Insight. Then you gain proficiency in either Smith's tools or one type of gaming, because I get the feeling Tarnished would like gambling if they were not trying to I think they'd enjoy gambling if they weren't dying a ton. And then for equipment, you get to choose either a simple or martial weapon and Smith's tools, a simple or martial weapon and Smith's tools, and 75 gold pieces. And then your origin feats. You get 2 options for your origin feat. The one is Stripped of Grace of Gold, which is where you are sent to the Badlands but never got offered grace again to come back to the lands. So you still harbor resentment towards gods and fate itself. So when you hit with an attack, you may deal 1 additional damage die of the weapon's type. So if you're hitting with the Great Axe and it does 1d12 damage, instead with this, it does 2d12 damage. But you can only use this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. And normally in the Elden Ring campaign, you'd only be able to use this in the Lands Between. You couldn't go anywhere else. But if you're using this outside of the Elden Ring campaign, you can use this whenever. And then you have the Grace feat, which means you regained your grace, and now you have advantage on death saves and constitution checks, and you have advantage on constitution checks. So that is about what the Tarnished is looking like as of right now. There might still be changes in the final product, but that is a pretty fair and balanced thing. I'd also recommend you could drop down the gold pieces for armor if you'd like, if you don't go to stores right before you start the campaign. Next is the Finger Maiden. So these are kind of like Melina. They are the way Tarnished get stronger. They turn runes into strength. Like in the actual game, Melina follows you around, and that's how you level up, is she turns runes into strength. So you may increase one ability score by 2 and the other by 1 for intelligence, dexterity, or charisma. Then you gain proficiency in 2 of the following. It could be religion, persuasion, or deception. Then you gain proficiency in calligrapher's supplies or a herbalism kit. Then the equipment, you get a simple weapon, traveler's clothes, a sacred relic or symbol, and 10 gold pieces. So your sacred relic or symbol would be like a spellcasting modifier, and it also it's kind of like what you'd use to channel runes into other people. But speaking of runes, that is the origin feat. So you channel runes, although you cannot actually acquire runes normally. It is an origin feat where at the end of the long rest, you can choose 1 creature in your party, including yourself, and that creature gains a +1 bonus to 1 ability score of their choice until the end of their next long rest. And this cannot raise score above 20 and cannot stack with itself. So no, you can't go 6 Finger Maidens and get somebody with like 21 strength and level 1. But now we are on to the races. So the first one is the Crucible Knights. These are the people who protect the Erd Tree, and they are quite strong, and they are normally a new player's worst enemy. So they are humanoid, and they are medium size, and they move 30 feet. And then they have the Primordial Resilience feat, where I guess it would be a race feat, kind of. But once per turn, when you take bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage, you can reduce that damage by an amount equal to your proficiency bonus. So that's a little bit of a damage reducer. It's not going to be very much. But the big thing is the aspect of the Crucible. So as a bonus action, you manifest 1 aspect for 1 minute, and then you can't use it until you finish a long rest. So horns, you have advantage on strength, checks, and saving throws. Hail, when a creature misses you with a melee attack, you can deal bludgeoning damage equal to your proficiency bonus once per turn. Which is kind of like it's the tail when the Crucible Knight, after he goes flying in, he'll tail smack you. That is what I was trying to go for here. And then wings, your jump distance is double, and you ignore non-magical difficult terrain, which is you're just kind of flying with your sword, like you'll see in the game. Now we have the Nox. So the Nox are the descendants of eternal cities who said no, bye, greater will, and they embraced shadow and starlight, kind of like dark elves a little bit. These are actually very similar to dark elves, with their humanoid. They're medium size, they move 30 feet, they have a dark vision range of 60 feet, and when they're in dim light or darkness, they have advantage on stealth checks, and they can cast Disguise Self once without expending a spell slot, and you regain this ability to do so once you finish a long rest. So not anything too over the top, but I think it would show the Nox quite well, and how they just sit in their little eternal cities below. So next we have the Imperians. So the Imperians are going to have two parts. This is the Imperians that you will choose a sublineage to this Imperian race, and you are a humanoid, medium or small, and you have and your speed is 30 feet. So, and then your divine legacy is you have advantage on one saving throw of your choice against being charmed or being frightened. So then you just have advantage on those saving throws. Then God Touch Resilience. When you fail a saving throw, you can re-roll it and take the new result once per long race. Now you choose your sublineage. So you have to actually take a sublineage, and each of them have benefits and drawbacks. So the first one is Child Forever, or Mikola, pretty much. I base these each on different demigods plus the Frenzied Flame. So Mikola's Child Forever is you have proficiency in Persuasion, and add your proficiency bonus to 1 radiant damage roll on an attack or spell, number of uses equal to your proficiency bonus per long rest. So that basically just lets you add your proficiency bonus to damage rolls equal to your proficiency bonus. However, you have disadvantage on stealth, athletics, on strength, athletics checks, and disadvantage on saving throws against being grappled or shoved. Because you're a little child, you're going to have issues in the strength aspect. Next, we have the Rot Touched, or Scarlet Vessel, or the Millennia Race, which allows you once per turn to add 1d4 poison damage to an attack, a number of uses equal to your proficiency bonus per long rest, and then once per long rest you may use Rot Bloom, which is an action to release a 10-foot radiance wave of rot, dealing 2d8 poison damage, con save for half, on 2 creatures of your choice. However, you have disadvantage on death saves, and when you fail a death save, you gain 1 level of exhaustion. So your goal here is kind of to not die. So if the death saves gets too brutal to a point, you can take off the level of exhaustion, because I think that would fit it fits Millennia well, although it could get a little chaotic, especially in a harder campaign, if you're constantly dying or you're playing Wizard. I don't know why you'd be playing Wizard on the Millennia class, but that is not up to me, but death saves can be pretty brutal sometimes on that class. And next, we have the Frenzied Touch, or Bearer of the Frenzied Flame. This is just a whole madness Frenzied Flame thing. So you gain proficiency in Persuasion or Intimidation, and then you can add 1d4 fire damage to 1 attack per turn, a number of uses equal to your proficiency bonus per long rest. So this is just a little bit of chip damage and some Persuasion and some proficiencies, and then, however, when you're damaged below half hit points, you must make a DC 8 plus proficiency bonus, or have disadvantage on your next attack or saving throw, disadvantage on, and then you also have disadvantage on saving throws against magical madness effects. So basically what this does is if you're below half health and you fail this wisdom save, which scales up, but it's not a hard wisdom save, you gain disadvantage on your next attack roll or saving throw, and then if you have another madness surge, you gain disadvantage on that one as well, or any other madness effects in a Lance Between style campaign. And finally, we have the Rani version, or the Moonlight. So you gain 2 additional spectral arms for holding objects, stowing or drawing items, and performing spell components, and once per long rest when hitting a creature concentrating on a spell, impose disadvantage on its concentration check until the end of your next turn. So these 2 additional arms, you can get pretty you can do some crazy stuff with this. If you wanted, I would say you could probably, for the sake of balancing, you could probably hold other weapons in these hands. Just, you can only use 2 weapons at a time to keep it a little more balanced, and you also can't use 2 arms to 2 hands great swords, because that would be a little overpowered. You're gonna be turning into Raider Bonk over here. So, but however, your drawback is God Hunting Instinct. So you have disadvantage on perception checks, not targeting godlike creatures when seeing them, and you cannot benefit from features that expand critical hit ranges. So basically, whenever you encounter like a god like Radagon or Marika, you are quite angry at them, and you're basically incentivized to go and attack them, assuming you can actually beat them. Now, we have the Imperian's Servant, which is like Maliketh for Marika, or Blythe for Ronnie. So you can be either a humanoid or a wolf, and you are medium-sized with a speed of 30 feet. So you can be a wolf that can talk, or you can be like a humanoid wolf, or you can just be a normal dude. But when a creature you consider your master falls below half their hit points, you may enter a frenzied devotion state as a bonus action. Duration 1 turn per proficiency bonus, once per long rest. And while in this state, you have advantage on attack rolls against creatures that have damaged your master since your last turn, and resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing damage until the end of the frenzied devotion. But the way you pick your master is at the start of the campaign. You will pick who you are going to be extremely loyal to. So if they start killing an NPC, you'll start killing an NPC. If they start vouching for someone, you'll start vouching for someone. So you still have a little bit of free will yourself. You can still make suggestions, you can still do all of that, but you are incentivized you're kind of just told to follow your master around. And then you also gain proficiency in intimidation, and if you already have proficiency, you may add double your proficiency bonus to 1 intimidation check per long rest. You're also a pretty intimidating guy, you know, you're like that, and they're looking all tough, you know? That's also kind of what I was thinking with that. So, for that, there is no longer any more races or backgrounds to Elden Ring, at least for now. I might be adding more, I might not, and I'm going to continue working on the big project. I am going to try and get a video out a week, although I'm not positive if that can happen, but you'll see at least a video every week and a half. And with that, I want to thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Goodbye!